Learning. The organism responds to stimuli by contraction of muscle or secretion of glands. The responses are the basic elements of behavior. Guthrie distinguished between act and movement. Any act is a movement or series of movement. Any movement is not an act. Learning deals with movement, not with acts. The association of stimuli and response is explained by contiguity. Law of effect. The law of effect deals with acts, not movements. Guthrie concludes that Thorndike does not deal with the basic law of learning. According to Guthrie, what is associated is a stimulus and a response. By association, we means that the stimulation has become the occasion for the response because of a past association of the two. Guthrie and Harton. Guthrie and Harton designed an experiment in order to prove that learning is a process of association. A cat was put in a cage. It had to learn how to get out of a cage. A small pole in the middle of the cage floor was the release mechanism. Whenever the cat touched the pole from whichever the side and in whatever way, the door opened and the cat could escape and eat the food prepared outside the cage. The cat found the solution immediately. When put in the cage again, it repeated its behavior. This shows that learning is a process of association and nothing else. Guthrie believes that association could occur after one connection and last forever. Forgetting is a result of inhabitation of old connection by new one. Extinction is an inhabitation of the new response. Any learned response will exist forever unless it is inhabited by a new response which is incompatible with the former one. A response is unclear not from lack of reinforcement, but by inhabitation. In Guthrie's theory, there is no room for reinforcement. He argues that repetition improves learning because learning of a skill requires association of more than one activity. The complex learning requires more than one trial. Guthrie believed that the last response is usually the lasting response. Guthrie believed that the concept of reward and punishment could be replaced by the principle of the last response. He called it contiguity. All learning depends on the contiguity of stimulus and response. Bernard Hull investigated the concept, formation, and the effect of tobacco on behavioral efficiency. He also worked on the development of particle method of statistical analysis and invented a machine for calculating correlation. He devoted 10 years to the study of hypnosis and suggestibility. In 1929, as a research professor at Yale University, he developed his interest in a theory of behavior based on law of conditioning. In 1940, he published mathematico-deductive theory of rote learning, or assumed a positive of importance in the era of learning in the United States. SR reinforcement theory. Hull incorporated the reinforcement in conditioning. He did not agree with J.B. Boston that frequency and recency of response were sufficient principle to account for learning. In Hull theory, motivation plays the most important role. There cannot be learning without reinforcement. Drive is the main factor in conditioning. It provides primary and secondary reinforcement, frame of reference. Hall believes that human behavior involves interaction between the organism and the environment. The objective stimuli provided by an environment and the objective response provided by the organism. The broader frame of reference is the biological adaptation of the organism to its unique environment. The survival of the organism is aided by this biological adaptation. When survival is in jeopardy, the organism is in a state of need. The whole need involves a situation in which the biological requirements for survival are not being met. Its behavior, the biological conditions necessary for survival, or was influenced by the theory of evolution. Quantification, our approach to psychology is distinguished by quantification. The law of behavior must be expressed in the precise language of mathematics. He proposed that psychologists must not only develop understanding of mathematics, they must think the mathematics for specific method, or develop for specific method that could be useful to science. There of them are already in use. Number one, simple observation. Number two, systematic control observation. Number three, experimental testing of hypotheses. Number four, hypothetical deductive method. The last method involves establishing postulated from which experimentally testable conclusion can be deduced, can be deduced. The last method involves establishing all believe that if psychology were to become an objective science, the only appropriate would be the hypothetical deductive method. Drive. Hall introduced two types of drives, primary drives and secondary drives. To him, drive activate the behavior. The strength of drive can be empirically determined in terms of the length of the deprivation, intensity, strength, and energy expenditure of the resulting behavior. He considered drive non-specific. Primary drive are associated with biological needs directly involved with organism survival. These drives arise from a state of tissue need include the need for food, water, air, temperature regulation, urination, sleep, activity, sexual intercourse, and relief from pain. These are the basic innate process of the organism and vital to its survival. We recognize that a human and animal are motivated by force other than primary drive. These are secondary and are learned drive. Learning. Hall believed that learning could not be explained adequately by the principle of recency and frequency. He focused on the principle of reinforcement, which is essentially Thorndike effect principle. Whole law of primary reinforcement states that when a stimulus-response relationship is followed by a reduction in need, the probability is increased that on subsequent occasion the same stimulus will evoke the same response.